Hi, and we're going to think today in our Chemically Speaking about decomposition reactions. So we will understand decomposition reactions. Now there are three types of decomposition reaction that we're going to think about today. We have thermal decomposition, electrical decomposition, and biological decomposition. And we're going to look at how the atoms rearrange during each of these reactions and look at how we would write equations for these different types of decomposition reactions. So a decomposition reaction in general is when a reactant breaks into two or more products. So you can see a general equation here. So you've got a compound, which is A and B joined together, and they react. And at the end in the products, we have A separated from B. So in this case, we've got a compound becoming two elements, but sometimes it can be a compound breaking down into another compound and an element, or maybe into two smaller compounds. So let's have a look at some examples. Thermal decomposition. Thermal decomposition involves heat, breaking down a substance into two or more simpler substances. And in this example, we have copper carbonate, which is a green solid, being broken down using heat. And the products are copper oxide and carbon dioxide, which is a gas. So you can see that we have one reactant, copper carbonate, and it's becoming two products. And you see some signs of a chemical change here because we have a permanent change in color. Copper oxide is now black, and we have the formation of a gas, carbon dioxide. And when we have a look at the chemical equation, you can see copper carbonate is CuCO3, and we take all of those atoms and we move them about, rearrange them to make copper oxide and carbon dioxide. And every single atom found in the reactants is also present in the products. So let's have a think about electrical decomposition. So here is where we use the power of electricity to break apart our compound. And our example here is water. And you can see in this reaction that our electricity is being provided by this battery. And the electricity is causing water to decompose or break apart, and you're forming two elements, oxygen and hydrogen. And they're being collected in these tubes. So let's have a look at the chemical equation for this. We have water making oxygen and hydrogen when it's being decomposed using electricity, and you can see the water molecule here. To balance it, we actually need two water molecules to start off with, and they make one molecule of the element oxygen and two molecules of the element hydrogen, so that it balances. Now, our last type of decomposition is biological decomposition, and we see this in living organisms such as yeast when they ferment glucose. And you may see an experiment like this where yeast gives off carbon dioxide gas, and you can actually use it to inflate a balloon. So let's have a look at the chemical reaction that's actually happening here. We start off with a sugar. The sugar is called glucose. Glucose is a big sugar. You can see its molecular formula there is C6H12O6. And it breaks down in the absence of oxygen. Yeast uses its enzymes. This is the scientific name for yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is a type of yeast used to make beer. And it will use its enzymes to break down the glucose sugar into ethanol. Ethanol is alcohol, which is very useful for beer, for brewing, for beer and wine, and also carbon dioxide. So we've turned one molecule at the beginning into two smaller molecules. That's decomposition. So you can see that we have covered what thermal, electrical and biological decomposition are. We have shown how atoms rearrange when this takes place, and we've written some equations for it.